There's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Ryan Hurljack was in grade 1 when he started what was to become the Ryan's Well Foundation. Since then, he's raised over $800,000 and built over 70 wells to bring fresh water to Africa. I wanted to find out more about the family that raised this child.
Well, it all started in my grade 1 classroom. It was during Lent, and we were saving money for developing countries that year because each year we would save money for a certain charity. In that year, our teacher told us that people were dying because they didn't have clean water. And she also explained that $70 would buy a well. So I went home, very upset that day, and begged and begged and begged my mom and dad for the money. But then after 3 or 4 days, they finally sat me down and they said, "You know, Ryan, $70 is quite a bit of money, and we can't give it to you, like, here's $70. But what we can do is give you a chance to earn it."
From the very beginning when Ryan started this, Susan, after that first initial couple of days where Ryan will become very dramatic about how we said no and how he kept coming back to us. But after that initial part, definitely Susan encouraged that if he wanted to do it, that he could work on it and set it up so that he would see the steps as he went.
So I started doing extra chores around the house, and I got to the point where I finally raised the $70 after 4 months. And then I brought it into an organization called WaterCan, and WaterCan told me, "You know, Ryan, $70 won't buy a well. It's going to cost $2,000 to build a well." So I just said I would do more chores. And then I got to the point where I realized that I couldn't do it by doing chores. I would be 90 by the time I raised it. So I turned to doing speeches and fundraisers for help, and now I've raised $800,000, built over 70 wells, and I'm 12 years old.
And there's actually Ryan is supported by people who are beyond the family. You know, we have close friends, and the community is supportive. His school, the school board have been supportive. The church, everyone plays a role in terms of helping Ryan to do the work that he does. So it's not just focused in our family, and that, I think, is in big part the reason that we've been able to do the things that we've done.
Ryan is the second of 3 boys. The Hurljacks live in a country home on the outskirts of Kemptville, Ontario. At 12, Ryan has gained uncommon notoriety. He's appeared on Oprah, the cover of Reader's Digest. Receiving honors and awards, meeting dignitaries, and giving talks has become a regular part of his young life. He recently received a $15,000 scholarship at the International Child Advocacy Awards, which he promptly decided to share with his runner-up.
The runner-up didn't get anything. I was walking home with $15,000. He's going back to Colombia where he works like a 14, 18-hour job. I decided to do what I learned back in grade 1, to share. So I did it because I wanted to give him the opportunity to continue with his work, and I could continue to do mine too. And then, after I said I would share it with him, the boss of Cardinal Health came out, and he said, "You know, Ryan, that award was meant for you, and you only, but what we're going to do is we're going to give Darrow $15,000 so you can keep yours. What you give is what you'll receive."
I wanted to know more about the roots behind such a sense of selflessness in someone so young.
Most important thing is treating everybody equally.
And I think love has always been central in our family, you know, that it's important to love one another and to love others as well, and to demonstrate that every day.
The Hurljacks recently adopted their 4th son, 14-year-old Jimmy Akana, a boy they met through Ryan.
I started to get to know him in grade 2. we were writing my teacher got an idea of writing pen pals to the students where my well was. So we all got pen pals, and my pen pal ended up to be Jimmy Akana. And he's just a great kid, but we found out that he was an orphan when we journeyed over there for the first time when I was 9.
We received an email at one point that told us that the rebel activity had increased and that Jimmy had in fact been captured, abducted by the Lord's Resistance Army. And we couldn't believe the news that we were getting, but it was at that point in time that we decided that we need to do something more than to just send money.
Like we are now in like 3 brothers. So we go outside, play, do things together, and I think it's going easy. Yeah.
The Hurl Jacks have taken on an uncommon load that have brought both fruits and significant pressures to their family life.
You know how youngest are supposed to get the most attention? Well, Ryan's been very, very busy. Mom and Dad always have to go on business trips, and just don't really get to talk to them all the time.
I think it's made us all like a lot better people, because even though we've been hurt financially a lot with it, like we've gotten like closer, I guess you could say. Plus we have Jimmy now, so it's also expanded our family. So now we have an extra person to live with us through Ryan.
The first one, this is the shoes I used to run.
What's unusual about this is that there isn't anybody who's been there before us. So it'd be nice to be able to call somebody up and say, well, what did you do when this happened? But there's nobody we have to talk to. So a lot of it is just Susan and I talking to each other and ultimately at the end of the day, doing what you think is the right thing.
Ryan recently had the honor of receiving communion from the Pope on John Paul II's 25th anniversary celebrations in Rome. I asked Ryan to talk about his prayer life.
Yes. We pray at dinner time. We pray at school. We pray at church. It doesn't even matter if I'm in the bus on my way to school. I'll just put my hands together and just close my eyes and just thank God. God's helped me, and He's helped me do the work I'm doing, and without God there's no hope, and you have to have hope.
My hope is that my children will grow up to be rich and successful. But when I say rich, I don't mean rich in terms of having a lot of money. I think of rich in terms of many other different ways. You know, I hope they're rich in character. I hope they're rich in terms of their relationships with others. I hope that they have some financial success so that they can live comfortably. But I think in terms of being successful, what's important to me is that they experience the happiness that Ryan has experienced through his giving to others.
The really main purpose of the Ryan's Well is really a few things. It's to build wells for people in the world that don't have clean water, but it's also to build a better future for people in the world. And it's also to show people that they can make a difference. Half the time, I think about helping people in the world and doing all this, and the other half the time, I'm just a regular kid.